I know what I am not.
Mhm.
And I'm not, one of the things that makes me sticky is this expectation that you've said, and so many other people have said, um, I had an awakening. This expectation that there is an experience that's going to happen that is going to, the light switch is going to happen. And it hasn't happened for me yet, apparently. There are many times during my day that I don't feel like I'm awake. There are other times that I know that's not true because I'm awakeness, but I'm still stuck in that place where I have an expectation.
So first off is that it may the recognition of the truth will come and go until it doesn't come and go. In other words, it's going to come and go, particularly at in the area where you're talking about, and it's just part of it. And just have to here's what it used to help me is in order for me to understand it that I was it, if you will, was I came upon I made the promise to myself to understand, or at least to repeat that. So I'm it, and I know I'm it, even though it doesn't feel like it. And that will help you to cross that
Yeah.
barrier, right?
Mhm.
Because once you begin to have faith in what you've feeling and what you've seen, then rather than what you've heard or you've read, then that's very helpful. And what you
Yeah.
hear here will be particularly good, not because it's me, but just because it's coming directly. Same thing with other people. Anybody in the room can come up with the jewel of the day, right? Because it's the same thing working through all of us. There's no kingship here, and there's no or anything like that. There's no difference. We are the same thing, only we look different. So maybe that can help a little. What will happen is if you go with this, because then you're kind of going against you're it's without deliberately doing it and without smashing it to where it'll come back, it's pushing what if aside. Is it really true? Is it that all these questions that come in?
Right.
Just saying, well, it's really true, whether I feel it or not, whether I can feel it or not. That's true acceptance, and that's where it really is. Is that I don't feel every moment like, wow, I'm a whiteness or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I really don't. I just don't feel like I'm a Fred, right? I'm just whatever I am, but it's not recognized that I'm a whiteness or anything like that. I just am having an ordinary day um, during which extraordinary things can happen. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a certain amount of what feels like effort that to which is why I appreciate listening to everything you have to say, your YouTubes and things, because you're very good at that. You're no nonsense. You just keep going, nope, turn around. So, but it's that effort that I get caught in because it feels like there's an I there,
Yes, that there
the
can.
effort.
If there's any effort, there has to be an I there who's efforting.
Yeah.
And that this too will what we're doing here right this very minute. It's thinning that sense of I. It's thinning that out because we don't come here to wake Amy up. We come here to sort of wake Amy out, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah. So
Because Amy doesn't exist.
yeah, because there really is no
There is
Amy,
no
but
Amy.
it'll
Yeah.
feel like it, and
Yeah.
it can still feel like it for a long time afterwards. Just probably not all the time, and then maybe not so often, and
Yeah.
then maybe it becomes a rare thing. But it's never a crime, and it's never a sign that oh God, I didn't really wake up. The if you're hanging around here for a good long time, you're probably awake and don't know it, right? And I didn't. Here's the truth. Um, I did not recognize when I crossed this barrier that you're talking about, where I went from in and out, so to speak, the feeling of being in and out of brightness, and then being stable in it. I didn't really notice that I had crossed that line. My
Interesting.
teacher had to tell me. We had
Interesting.
private
Okay.
sessions, and in private sessions, he finally let the cat out of the bag, right?
Oh, you can relax now.
Right, yeah, it's
Oh,
done.
good. Yeah.
Done. And then what you can't do at that moment was, how did I do that? Because you didn't. right?
Okay.
How
Yeah,
does it relate?
sometimes I'm totally, like I said, there are no questions because this is it. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
but awesome. Thank you. It's nice to know that you didn't recognize it either, because you talk about it as if it was a when I had my shift, or when I had my awakening.
It was there. Now I had a shift in awakening. With my awakening, there was a perception of a shift, but there's a difference between that initial awakening, which many people do not have a shift. Many people do, but I wouldn't say it's the norm to feel like that was the thing. You just have it. There's just something that strikes you that's really clear, or whatever, and you don't recognize that you're actually just seeing through all the false stuff that you believed in before. So the absence of the critic is not so easily noticed as the presence of the critic, right? So when you
Right.
lose this, it may be just quiet, right? It just may, well, it seems to be quieter around here. And if
Yeah.
you've lost the critic, it is quieter.
So this comes under the heading, it's not what you think it is. Awakening is not what you think it
Not
is.
what you think
Yeah.
it is, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody's got it exactly backwards.
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
somebody not too long ago that just, the thing is, if you hang on to the fact that you can't wait until Amy wakes up,
Yeah.
it'll never happen
Yeah.
because it just
Yeah.
can't. Because the
Yeah.
only thing that's stopping Amy from waking up is the belief that Amy's not awake now. Because
Yes.
what we're trying to do here really is just to bring you to see what's already here, what you can already see, but you don't see it because
Yeah.
it's so obvious. And we don't miss this because it's so complex. We need to figure something out, and we've been brushed up on our physics enough or something,
Yeah.
or our mantras or whatever. All of these things can be helpful. None of them are necessary if they're not. If they are, but if they're not necessary, if they're not. So this knowing that that this is it. This is it. It's not waiting on this is it, because that's what we do. We're waiting on it to happen
Yep.
in the future, right? I can't wait until it happens, and who's it going to happen to?
Which I'm clear. Yeah, it's me. I don't exist and there's no future. So I don't know why it's so sticky, but it is.
Because
So
you're a
I got
human
this.
being,
Yeah.
and this is
Yeah.
and this is and your confusion here, the
Yeah.
confusion of everybody initially. That's not a mistake.
Yeah.
It's not a mistake. It's the plan. I mean,
Yeah.
it happens. So we have to assume, when I say the plan, I don't mean it's like a plan,
Yeah.
but that's what happens. And you can see why it makes sense. If everybody was awake, so to speak, everybody is awakeness
Yeah.
itself. You can say that everybody's awake. You can say that nobody's awake, and either one is pretty much equally true. The difference is that what we're experiencing here is that we're awake and we do know it. We're awake and we know it.
Mhm.
And so when it's a awakeness, it's alert awakeness, it's conscious awakeness, which is, oh, I see. This very picture, so to speak, this very picture, this is it. And
This is
I've
it.
been looking right in it and through it for it,
Mhm.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's like it's the wall and I can't quite get there. But in truth, it's the whole thing. This was helpful the other day to somebody in recognizing that in essence, space is the body of God. Space is your body, and you are not other than the divinity. So space is your real body. And if you start looking at it from the standpoint, wow, space is my real body, how that doesn't even seem to make sense. But let's look at it this way. There's something that doesn't come or go. What is that? All this stuff, including these bodies, everything here comes and goes. This house wasn't here 100 years ago. This was a woodland 100 years ago, right? Now there's been a house there, but who knows? Civilization may go to hell. It may be a woodland again. But what didn't ever move here from here? What never moved? What did everything come and go within? Space,
Yeah. Space.
right?
Yep.
And life seems to come and go, but it's really consciousness that comes and goes. And I know that you hear that that consciousness is forever and steady. And it just there's that's a little disagreement that I have with many people. Awakeness, which is the potentiality for consciousness, never comes and goes. But consciousness is not operable if there's not a unit to operate through. So upon the spontaneous birth of one of these, consciousness is born into the world. And we will call consciousness Amy, right? And we will tell consciousness, you're Amy. And you're Amy and I'm Fred. You're Amy, I'm Fred. We're different. See, you're a girl and I'm a boy, and it's this, that, and the other. But all this differentiation, where is it really? It's really right here.
Thought.
Yeah, all the separation is thoughts.
Mhm.
And if you think about Aristotle, thank you. So if you look at Aristotle, what Aristotle did was he took this whole and divided it. And that's where we get the scientific names for everything. And he subdivided that. And he came to be, that's what's really here, is this and that and the other. But what's really here is the whole.
Yep.
And the rest of it are mental.
Yep.
It's just mental tagging, mental names. My skeleton has many different names, but it's really just a skeleton, right? It's one skeleton. And it does have little different parts, but they're not really different. They look different. They operate differently. But everything, we're not interested in finding sameness and taking all the joy and the lusciousness of this beauty and complexity and turning it to who cares? It's all the same. And that's not where we're headed. So it's recognizing the word I used before of Ramesh's multiplicity. So it is which is the combination of multiple and unicity. It's unicity, but it's one. And multiplicity is this, where it shows up differently. It's where unicity has been broken up, appears to have been broken up, right? And so that our experience is of many things, but what's having the experience and what the experience is being had in are actually the same one thing, meaning that they are all really consciousness. They are manifestations, they are representations of consciousness. But consciousness is inoperable before this. So these units are very important because they are exactly as it says, they are the temple. If you don't have one of these, there's no doing anything because you're not there. In the absence of consciousness, nothing can exist. How would we know about it?
Right.
Can you tell me that things exist? Right. It's just
right.
So consciousness is the baseline upon which all the world is built. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.